LocalBozo.com is proud to have with us as our guest for an exclusive interview, actor, comedian, and now accomplished author, Patton Oswalt. Patton, thanks so much for giving us a couple minutes today.
Yeah, man, thanks.
So, January 4th marks the official release of your book, Zombie Spaceship Wasteland. Can you talk a little bit about the concept behind the book and how it all came to be?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the way it came to be was that I just been writing a lot of stuff on the internet for years, and then that led to getting asked to write stuff for magazines, and I had enough magazine work out there that a literary agent came to me and said, hey, would you have any ideas for a book? And we, went to a lot of different publishing companies, and luckily Simon & Schuster sort of went with my incoherent idea for an out-of-chronological order autobiography done as a series of comedic essays. So that was the whole idea of the book.
With all the writing that you do for your act, how does writing a book of essays compare to writing new material?
Well, I don't really sit down and write material. I just kind of write on stage. I just kind of go up with a few general topics and ways of approach comedically, and then it all kind of works out because it has to sound more conversational. But so writing the book was very, it was a completely new thing for me in sustaining mood and tone and kind of a viewpoint for that long without any feedback the entire time. So that, I think that was the part that was most new.
Speaking of writing, we really enjoyed your piece for Wired Magazine on how the internet has sort of contributed to the death of geek culture.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and reading it sort of felt like it was something that was building in you for quite a while, and sounded like you sort of had to vent your frustrations about.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't realize it had been building in me for so long. I was talking to the Wired editors about what would you like to do for us and what kind of ideas you have. When we hashed out stuff, and my editor, Nancy Miller, had kind of the general idea, and then I took it from kind of my point of view. And, yeah, it was one of those things where, I didn't realize I felt this way. I guess it was all subconscious. And a lot of times writing is just unlocking. As you start to write, stuff begins to connect and spill out of you. So that was definitely valuable,
Yeah, just reading it, you definitely get an appreciation for the enthusiasm that you have toward the nostalgia of geek culture. And we actually put the link up to the article last week and got a ton of hits because it was so well written.
Oh, wow, thank you.
Yeah, it was a really, really good read. Big Fan was definitely a departure from your normal body of work. How important was it to you to be able to branch out from comedy, and how rewarding were the accolades when you were able to pull it off?
I wasn't really looking to branch out from comedy. I was just looking to keep getting to do things that were good. So my only genre, if just as good a comedy script had come along, I would have happily done it. But that was the script that I was offered at the time, and it was so well written, that I was just happy that I got it kind of dropped in my lap. But I would just as happily do horror or science fiction or more animation if the scripts were as well written as Big Fan. And the fact that I was able to pull it off, to me, was more relieved. It relieved me more that I didn't mess up a good script, because there's nothing worse than being the bad part of something that's good. So the fact that people seem to think that I did a good job and something that was well written made me really happy.
So basically, as long as it's well written, you'll consider doing some darker roles in the same vein.
I just want to keep doing stuff that's good. So I'm not looking at genre or point of view. I just read each script and go, is this original and good? So that can take me in any direction, which I think is ultimately more interesting.
Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my love of The King of Queens. Now that it's been off the air for a while and you can be a little bit reflective, how closely related were Patton Oswalt and your character Spence Olchin?
They actually took a lot of stuff from my life, I think, near the end, or stuff from my act, or stuff that I would think about. But I think that guy is way more far gone than I am. I think he's almost like more what I could have become if I hadn't, tried to grasp onto reality a little tighter. So it was fun to get to play that.
So what would you say so far has been the best experience you've had professionally?
I've had so many different experiences. It's like comparing apples and oranges at this point. They're just all so different. I can't say which one is the best. They all had their own qualities and drawbacks. So I was just happy to get to do all of it.
As far as being a stand-up, is it intimidating at all to a comedian knowing that one of your specials may have just aired, and it's likely that a lot of the fans that are going to come see you on tour may have seen the jokes already?
Yeah, but I like that intimidation because, you do the special and then it takes time for it to come out. You hit the road and really start working on new stuff so that once the special or the album comes out, got new things to do for your fans. So I'm glad that pressure is there. I'm glad that it's not easy to be. I'm glad that it's not easy to be complacent in this business, or else, good Lord, I would be. Because I'm a lazy dude. So if I was able to be complacent and successful, believe me, I would do it.
Well, you seem to be doing a lot of work for somebody that's lazy. I only wish I had your work ethic.
Wow. Well, thank you.
Now, you've got some shows lined up at Caroline's on January 7th and January 8th, as well as a book tour coming through the city. How is performing here in New York different from your shows elsewhere?
I've stopped thinking of audiences in terms of like, oh, this city. Each audience is its own individual thing. I can do those 4 shows at Caroline's, and each audience is completely different from the other. And I think that if you start writing off whole cities as a comedian, that's another toe into the pool of complacency. So I just look at each audience, each show as, I don't know what this is going to be. I've had very close-minded audiences in Los Angeles and Manhattan, and then I've gone down to Birmingham, Alabama, and had the most open-minded, kind of edgy audience I've ever had. So and again, I can have closed-minded, open-minded audiences within the space of a weekend at this exact same club. So I'm now very, very focused on each audience as its own thing, and not in terms of a city or not in terms of a county or a state. I just think that's a really bad way to think.
As a comedian who's really emerged from stand-up specials and albums to television to movies to voiceover work, now the world of literature, what's next for Patton Oswalt?
Another album, hopefully another book, maybe some more movies. What's kind of good is right now I don't know what's next, and that's what's kind of exciting. I don't know what's next, and I'm happy that I don't know.
All right, well, we look forward to whatever it is you decide to do. Do you have anything else you'd like to leave the readers of localbozo.com with?
For 2011, read deeper, read less stuff, but read it deeper, and skim less. Go for quality over quantity. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. I'm glad that made sense.
All right. Fans, you can catch Patton Oswalt on his book tour on Thursday, January 6th at the Borders on Wall Street at 1 p.m. and performing live on January 7th and January 8th at Caroline's right here in Manhattan. And make sure to pick up his new book, Zombie Spaceship Wasteland. For book tour information and stand-up dates, make sure to check out PattonOswalt.com. Patton, can't thank you enough for giving us some time today at localbozo.com, and best of luck with the new book.
Thanks, man. Hey, thanks for calling me. I appreciate it.